Well, welcome everyone to the City of Brooks regular council meeting of March 23rd of 26. I will call the meeting to order at 4:30. You have the agenda before you. Are there any items to add, delete? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Johnson that the agenda be adopted. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. You have the minutes from the regular council meeting of March the 9th, 2026. Are there any questions? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Phillipson that the minutes from the regular council meeting held March the 9th, 2026 be approved. All those in favor? Carried. Business arising out of the minutes? None. RCMP quarterly report. Staff Sergeant Harms.
Thank you, everybody, and good day. I hope everyone's doing well. I've submitted my report recently, which is before you, and a little bit different than some of the other ones I've done in the past, in that I've actually summarized some of our 2025 year-end results. We haven't actually met since, I think December is the last time that I attended a council meeting. So I just want to touch on a few of those 2025 results, and then I'll go into some monthly stuff starting with December, January, and February. So speaking about 2025 results, and again, this is just statistics within the City of Brooks, not outside the city limits. The detachment responded to 4,752 files in 2025. This includes calls for service from the public as well as self-generated and so on. This actually represents a 6.2% increase when compared to 2024. And in fact, if we go back to 2021, it actually represents a 20.9% increase in calls and files that we're responding to. Looking at call distribution and breakdown, just real quick, our busy months are almost always July in Brooks, and the not so busy month was December. Interesting thing was 3,023 calls were dispatched through our dispatch center, while 1,700 were self-generated by officers and through our front counter complaints. Moving on, I'm on page 7 of your report right now. I listed some top 10 files by count. By no means does that represent where all our workload goes, but I thought that was interesting just to see what our top 10 files are, again, by count. Point number 4 there, I wanted to talk real quickly about response times. I've actually had this question recently a few times from different people. The average response time for our Priority 1 and Priority 2 calls in Brooks, which are our most important calls, in 2025 was 11.2 minutes, which compared to the K-Division average of 13 minutes, we're actually trending below that average, so 11.2 minutes. 55.7% of the time, Brooks members were on scene within 5 to 10 minutes, and that's with a rough estimate of about 4 minutes and 45 seconds that it takes for that call to go through 911 through our dispatch center and be dispatched out. So again, yeah, 55.7% of the time we're on scene in 5 to 10 minutes. Talk about point number 5 is just some crime gauges from 2025. And the CSI score. So crime gauges, basically we're showing our trends with persons crimes, property crimes, and other crimes. And we're seeing some nice decreases there. And in fact, we see a 4% decrease overall, which we're very, very pleased with. When we dissect our property crime a little bit further, we actually see some nice decreases with break and enters, 15% decrease, 7% decrease with theft under, but we are seeing an increase in theft of vehicles when compared to 2024. So 100% increase, which is, there was an increase of about 18 theft of vehicles in 2025. When we look at our CSI score, Crime Severity Index, we spoke about this before, but just as a reminder, every community is assigned a CSI score. That is based on how much crime is in your community and the severity of that crime. Our most recent CSI score is from 2024 because they lag, but it shows a value of 84.5 for the city of Brooks, which is actually below the Alberta overall score of 95.6. So we're kind of trending below that Alberta score as a whole. So we're quite pleased with that. I wanted to throw in, there's been some news coverage recently of basically reports coming out that there's reduced crime in all of RCMP jurisdiction in Alberta. So the next couple charts speak to RCMP jurisdictions right across Alberta, including the crime gauge. So in Alberta, the RCMP, again, RCMP jurisdiction, we're showing a decrease of 6% in crime overall right across Alberta. So that's a nice decrease, and we're showing decreases in all categories that are measured there. The latest CSI score, again, from 2024, shows a value of 110.8, and that's a decrease of 6.9% from the previous year. So we're seeing some positive trends there. They're going the right way. I'll be the first to acknowledge that, you know, one criminal offense is one too many, but there is, you know, the trends are heading the right way there. Page 9 of your report. I just kind of captured some miscellaneous highlights, again, from 2025. I already spoke about theft of motor vehicles. I have that highlighted there again. Basically, it doubled. It went from 18 to 36 from 2024 to 2025. Shows a 100% increase. However, when we look as far back as 2021, we actually see a 10% decrease over those years. Our mental health calls, 167 mental health calls in 2025 compared to 140 in 2024, represents that 19% increase. But again, it's a 1% decrease when we look at the previous 4 years factored into that. 304 spousal abuse files. These are basically a domestic violence or a domestic disturbance type call. So 304 spousal abuse files in 2025 compared to 256 in 2024, representing a 19% increase. But again, we're seeing a 24% decrease when we look back as far as 2021. Motor vehicle collisions, 291 in 2025 compared to 2024, shows a 7% decrease. And just touching on a couple of types of vehicle collisions, we had no fatal collisions in 2025. We had 39 injury collisions compared to 24 the previous year. And our reportable collisions with no injuries in 2025 was 187 compared to 211 the previous year. So kind of some fluctuating numbers there, but I thought I'd throw that out there for some comparisons. Our community and visibility and police engagement was ongoing in 2025. We had 238 media releases, 51 public presentations, 73 different types of public engagement, and so on. The next group of stats under point 9 I want to share because we rarely share this, but in 2025 we did 284 compliance checks on persons bound by court conditions. There was 166 foot patrols in various areas and approximately 495 bar walks, we call them, or liquor establishment checks throughout the year. So kind of just speaks a little bit about some of the proactive stuff we're doing. So that's it for the 2025 stats. Again, I went over them pretty quick, but there is some good information there if you want to make reference. Looking at the months of December, January, and February, which is what the next portion of this report represents, I'm not going to go through all of it line by line. I'll just touch on a few highlights. For those 3 months, we had 975 calls for service, 73 prisoners, 254 criminal record checks, and 119 violation tickets written. Moving down to the community engagement side of things, we had a total of 62 engagements. That's 38 media releases, 13 presentations, 11 public engagements. If I was to talk about a few events that are noteworthy, I highlighted 4 there. I'll just touch on them real quick. On December 15th, we had a foot chase with an individual in the area of that Best Buy area, if I remember correctly. And basically, it was an individual that our members seen that we knew to have warrants for some fairly serious offenses, including assault. That person tried to evade our officers, and multiple members engaged with that, including our general duty members, our general investigative section, and so on. There was a brief foot chase through the area, and through the efforts of those members, a 29-year-old male from Brooks was arrested and remanded into custody. There's a break and enter on January 2nd, 2026 at about 3:20 in the morning. Brooks RCMP responded to a break and enter alarm at the Brooks Best Buy right in Brooks and discovered the premises was broken into, and suspects had left the area prior to our arrival. Multiple items were stolen, including electronics and other related items. The investigation magnified as the days went on, and it led to not only our Brooks General Duty members involved, but the Brooks General Investigation Section. We engaged our Southern Alberta Crime Reduction Unit, our Forensic Identification Unit, and the Calgary Police Service. And happy to report that eventually a couple suspects were identified, and there was a search warrant executed in Calgary where some of those stolen items were located and recovered. 36-year-old male and a 45-year-old male from Calgary were charged with break and enter, theft, and possession of stolen property. Both are also facing additional charges for other break and enters throughout Southern Alberta. The involved officers, including support units and partners, were key, obviously, to bringing this to a successful conclusion. Point number 3, Operation Street Sweep. I've talked about this many times in the past. It is basically a crime suppression shift where we basically pursue people that are wanted by the courts on outstanding warrants. We check people that are bound by court conditions, and we also do traffic control or traffic enforcement on aggressive drivers. 24 traffic tickets were written, 17 traffic warnings were issued, 11 compliance checks were done, and 12 warrants were executed on 8 persons. A little piece that we added to this one was we actually conducted foot patrols in the downtown area on 2nd Street West, and we made contact with a lot of the business owners and people that were walking around, and we were able to talk about crime reduction strategies, and actually learn a little bit about the community, and they were also, learning a little bit about what we were doing. So it was a really, really good operation. Want to talk about February 4th. There was heavy police presence in the Ingram Park Drive area. I think a lot of people are aware of that. Basically, we responded to reports of an intoxicated male that was causing damage inside the residence. This male became quite agitated and aggressive and non-compliant with us and barricaded himself in the home. This resulted in a fairly large police response and presence, and we actually wound up asking some people to leave their residences and asking others to shelter in place as these resources came into play and dealt with the situation. The units that respond to this include the RCMP's emergency response team, 2 police dog service units, crisis negotiation team, our RPAC team, which is the regional police and crisis team, and more. And eventually we took a 38-year-old male into custody and charged him with a number of charges, including assaulting a police officer, possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, 2 charges, mischief, and intent to cause an explosion. The RCMP response on this was very, very excellent, and it's an excellent example of kind of that police package and that support package that comes with every police detachment in Alberta and across the country sort of thing. So anyway, we had a great outcome there. One person charged and no persons hurt. Moving on to the tail end of my report, I was going to talk a little bit about the Alberta traffic fines increasing, but I think everybody's well aware of this. But maybe for viewers that aren't aware, March 13th, several fines in Alberta, traffic fines, have increased. And in summary, 30%, there's a 30% increase observed in some common offenses and up to 50% for some high-risk offenses. So not all offenses went up, but several did. So just another reason, to make sure that we're all compliant out there when we're driving on the roads. I got two last quick points. Detachment policing priorities, there's been lots of discussion in the community about this. We're in a phase right now where we're trying to finalize our policing priorities for the next fiscal year, which starts April 1st. We've had 4 RCMP town hall meetings to date, one in Rainier, one at Brooks JBS, Brooks Newbrick Lodge, and Orchard Manor as part of the public consultation process. We're also doing some continued consultation with other people right now. But a key tool in us getting the public's input and consulting with the public is an online survey that we launched, and we have some of those results in now. We didn't have a real big response in this, but about 127 people responded. 79% of those people were from Brooks or identified they were from Brooks. And interestingly enough, the survey identified that the people identified the top 3 wants for policing priorities is traffic safety, property crime reduction, and drug enforcement. There's several other categories that were a distant fourth and followed that, but I just want to kind of highlight the top 3 there. Interesting point is those 3 are 3 of the 4 that we have in place right now. So as we move forward, we'll kind of solidify our priorities, and it's starting to look like those 3 will be included in them. So anyway, more to come on that. The last point is there's several supplementary documents on my report. I'm not going to go through them unless anybody has any questions. But in that supplementary package, there's a letter from the RCMP Commanding Officer of Alberta, and it's a 4-page letter, so I'm not going to go through that today. But I do encourage everyone to read that. And if anyone has any questions on that, if I can't answer them, I can most certainly reach out to the Commanding Officer on everybody's behalf. So I went through it pretty quick. Any questions, thoughts, or comments on any of that?
Well, thank you very much, Staff Sergeant Harms. I'm glad to see that everything has taken a proactive approach and we're seeing numbers going down. It's much appreciated to you and all of your staff for the numbers that we're now seeing. So does anyone have any questions? Councillor Johnson? No. Well, Councillor Falkenberg.
Through the chair to Staff Sergeant Harms, thank you for coming. Couple things. Mental health files. Can you just give a brief explanation what that would be?
Yeah, so we do respond to a number of mental health calls, files, on a fairly regular basis. These are basically people. I think the best way to describe it are maybe in some type of crisis, maybe, not always. It could be something emotional or whatever, but it's prompted, something has prompted us to respond to that. So there's been a long history of discussions about whether mental health calls are actually a police matter or a medical type matter. I can tell you, sitting here before you, it's both. Some of the mental health calls that we have been on have been some of the most dangerous calls that we've been on, because often we have someone, not always, but at times someone that's not thinking rationally in major crisis. Sometimes there's weapons involved, so there is a police component to it, but there's also a medical component too. So it's our job to, first of all, make sure that everybody's safe and well taken care of, and then the next step is to determine if that person needs some type of assistance, including from a hospital or a medical facility. And we have ways of kind of gauging that and, making the right decision there and helping that person. This is also where our RPAC teams come in, our regional police and crisis teams. And these are the teams that have a police officer in the vehicle with a medical practitioner. And they really are a great tool to have, because we have both that police component and that medical response component in the same vehicle. So we find that they're able to actually, sometimes dissect that problem even further than we can, and maybe even come up with some better resource options and so on.
Perfect, thank you. Just one quick. Are you able to give an update on the death of the young lady late August?
Yes, thanks for that question. So long story short on that one is I don't have any updates that I can give on that. That is not to be confused with, that there's nothing happening with that investigation. That investigation is still very, very active and very much alive, and there's still several officers attached to that working on that. And it's not that I don't have information, it's just I don't have any new information that I can update the public with.
Thank you.
Councillor Johnson? No? Oh,
I just wanted to say thank you for your report and thank you for the work you do. Excellent update.
thank you very much. Councillor Nesbitt?
Through the chair, thank you very much for all the hard work that you and your team do, because we do see you out in our public a lot, and that is appreciated. And I think the feedback is the results of some of these decreases for sure. Through the summer months, are there some plans for connecting in other ways? Like, are they going to be riding bikes? Are some of the officers going to be coming through the community in that format, and others?
So great question, and you definitely read my mind. The team at Brooks Detachment is not, good with status quo. We're kind of sitting and waiting for things to happen. So we're always looking for those innovative ways, for us to be effective and to contribute to, crime reduction and so on. So the answer to your question is yes. What that's going to look like exactly right now, I don't know. I also know it's going to tie into our new detachment priorities that we're finalizing. So just to remind everyone, we usually identified 3, sometimes 4 priorities, and one might be crime reduction, as we've seen. And then we identify initiatives, how we're going to address that. So what does that mean? And it might mean things like foot patrols, or more foot patrols, bike patrols, and so on. So the answer is yes, there's definitely things, that are coming down the pipe, and exactly what that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but we will make that known for sure.
That's appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Regner?
Thank you for that report. A couple questions. I get asked all the time, how many members we have in Brooks? 28, and we're hiring a 29th, is that correct?
So, yeah, in total, we have 29 positions in the detachment. So we have 2 hard vacancies right now. So that brings us down to 27. That includes both our provincial resources and the municipal resources that come from the city.
Okay, question number 2. K Division average of 13 minutes. The 11.2, is their average based on population area? Like, I think when you phone police, they can never get there quick enough, of course. But 11.2 minutes, is that like, how far out does your average calculate?
Yeah, so I think there's a whole bunch of factors that come into play there, and we have to be mindful of all of them. And one might be the geographical area itself, right, which would dictate how quick we can get to a call and where the officers are at the time. So geographical area for sure. In Brooks, I think I know we have it pretty good. The detachment, of course, is in the downtown area. The city is not overly large and is fairly compact, and it seems that we can get to calls fairly quickly. And I'm quite pleased, and always have been pleased with the response times here. The other factor that we always have to understand when we talk about response times is it is very dangerous for us to run at high speeds, even when we have our lights and sirens on. So when we get a call, a priority one call, shall we say, that appears that it's extremely time sensitive, sometimes we can risk assess that. Sometimes we can get on the phone and get additional information. And it may dictate that new information, or our risk assessment may dictate that, hey, we do not have to fly at extremely high rates across the city to get to that. So that actually increases our response time. So we really have to be, careful when we analyze, is that an appropriate response time? But yeah, so I don't know, does that kind of sum up what you're, yeah.
Yeah, that does. Thank you for your answers.
We just have to be careful on that. I think the takeaway on that one point, which I was going to add, is we are below average on the K division, so I'm quite pleased with that. And there is about a 4-minute and 45-second factor built in. It's kind of an average that they believe it takes for that call to go through 911 and then through our dispatchers and then be dispatched out to the officers.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Regner that the RCMP quarterly report be accepted as information. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, municipal enforcement quarterly report to council presented by PO Sergeant Grant. If you would like to come up.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to have to stare at my pretty face for the next 10 minutes. I don't know how I can follow that report up, but I will do my best. So before you have our Q1 report, which comprises from December to February of this year. Our department currently comprises of 3 community peace officers, and some of our biggest roles that we play is traffic safety. We deal with unsightly premises and animal control. Those tend to be our 3 biggest areas of concern. A big part of our job is community outreach. So in this quarter, numerous events were attended where we assisted the community. We continue to collaborate with various agencies throughout the city, RCMP, EMS, fire. We also have a monthly meeting that we have that comprises of RCMP, Fish and Wildlife, county CPOs, where we discuss ongoing issues within the city and in the county. These meetings have been a good testament to the work that we can get done around town. We have an outstanding working relationship with our local RCMP detachment and Staff Sergeant Harms. We share information collaboratively, and we're able to mitigate a lot of incidents before they turn into something bigger. So going forward, our traffic safety program continues to run. In this quarter, we wrote 477 tickets and 194 warnings were issued. Traffic safety tends to be our #1 priority for this community. The three of us work very hard to ensure the overall safety of our public, so that continues. Our property care and maintenance, we have issued 54 overgrown tree letters, 12 unsightly property cleanups, and 47 snow removal notices in this quarter, as well as animal control. This time of year for animal control, it tends to be pretty quiet. Most people don't have their dogs running around at large. With animal control, a lot of our calls are complaint-based, not so much proactive. So in the winter months, we do tend to see a decline in those numbers. So, and attached is the stats that I have provided. So if you have any questions, it's pretty short and simple. It's definitely not as entertaining as the RCMPs, but I am at your disposal for questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions of Sergeant Grant? Yeah? Councillor Johnson?
Through the chair to Sergeant Grant, you were who I was waiting for. I did have a couple questions on your stats, if you can bear with me. So I noticed that gaming, liquor, and cannabis is shown kind of twice. One's act, one's regulation. What's the difference between that, first of all?
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson. So the way the Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis Act is broken up, it's in a regulation and some are in an act. So if we are getting someone for consuming cannabis in a vehicle, that's usually going to fall under the act. And if we charge someone with transporting cannabis within reach of a driver or an occupant, that usually falls under the regs. So they're going to show two different stats.
And then the same with, you show bylaw 2401 with a P and then 2401 just regular. I wasn't sure what the P stood for.
So when we issue tickets under our digital reporting system, anything that we issue directly to a provincial ticket is shown with a P. And those are tickets that give someone an immediate court date should they wish to fight it. And anything that doesn't have a P next to it, so if it's just a bylaw 2407, that would be a straight bylaw ticket where they would pay to the city.
Okay. And we're going to be really hard on the unsightly properties this year?
Yes, our department works very hard every year to try and combat the unsightliness that our community faces. It definitely does not go unnoticed from our department. There are certain areas of our community that we focus on more so than others. In the summer, we tend to triage a lot of our unsightly complaints just because of how busy we can get. But that is definitely right up with our traffic safety program, is dealing with our unsightly premises. With that, there is a time process in which we have to enforce unsightly properties. These aren't things that we can just show up to someone's house, say, hey, clean your yard, and it's done within 24 hours. Under the Municipal Government Act, we have to adhere to a 14-day rule where we have to give them enough notice to have the property cleaned. Should they not clean the property, then we have to issue a notice of entry, which allows us to enter onto the property. So depending on the severity of the cleanup, it could take up to a month to get one property cleaned. So we tend to rely more on compliance in hopes that people do that. I can honestly say most of our complaints never get to the point of an entry notice, so that's a bonus.
That's exactly what I was hoping you would explain, was that whole process. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councillor Phillipson?
My question was also about the unsightly, and it's mostly answered. So first of all, thank you for your report. Thank you for what you do. The unsightly properties, like, is it garbage, cars, all of that?
Through the chair to Councillor Phillipson. So the unsightly premises bylaw covers a very wide variety of things. Anything from derelict vehicles on a property, overgrown grass, couches, mattresses, anything that would essentially make a property derelict or define as unsightly. Garbage tends to be the biggest issue. A lot of people move out at the end of the month, leave a lot of stuff out, furniture, that kind of stuff. So it definitely encompasses a lot. I hope that answers your question.
Councillor Nesbitt?
So through the chair to our peace officer Grant. Sorry, but the one question I wanted to know is if we do we charge the tenant if we do a notice of entry, then is that charged to them directly for any expense and time that we have incurred? And that would be my one question. And the other thing is, does it also involve things like broken down fences, lack of paint on fences, those kinds of things, and also in that, I'm sorry, I haven't read the regulation, and maybe we need to tighten it up a little more once we do read it. So any suggestions would certainly be appreciated going forward. But if you can just answer some of those questions that I've had, thanks.
Through the chair to Councillor Nesbitt, thank you for the question. So in the event where we have to enter onto a premises to do a cleanup, the city would pay for the bill up front, and then the bill for that cleanup would go against the residents' property taxes. So, no problem.
Does that include things like broken down fences, lack of paint on fences, things like that? Do we get to go that far with some of the cleanup that we'd like to see in our community?
It can go that far. Usually by the time we get to a notice of entry, we've already issued a ticket. And we're heavily relying on compliance for that, specifically with derelict properties, whether it be people's shingles flying off the roof or broken down fences. Because ultimately what we have to look at is, do we want to be on the hook for putting a new roof on someone's house or rebuilding a fence? Even though it does get billed against their property taxes, that's something we have to look at. You're welcome.
Councillor Regner?
Again, thank you for the report. In regards to the like unsightly property, you mentioned garbage. Is that mostly complaint driven that people call in and we do it, or is that as the officers are driving around, they're taking note of this? Kind of give me a breakdown of that, please.
Through the chair to Councillor Regner. So a lot of the work that we do with unsightly can be proactive, but with our C-Click Fix system that we have, we do generate a lot of complaint-based files for unsightly. I would say it's about a 75-25. 75% of them come in through complaint basis, and the rest are officer-observed incidents of unsightly that we engage ourselves. Most of it is publicly engaged.
Thank you.
Are there, Councillor Johnson?
Thank you through the chair to Sergeant Grant. You said the C-Click do or whatever. I'm sure you're talking about the Newell Connect app. So can we just maybe expand on that? And one thing before we do, I just wanted to touch upon two things that my fellow counselors said. So with unsightly properties, what about back alleys? Is that included in properties, or how does that dealt with the unsightly back alleys? And with Councillor Nesbitt, how far do we typically go with the broken down fences or anything like that? I just wanted to know some examples maybe.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson. So first part of your question, the Newell Connect app is a great source for the community to report any issues they see throughout the community, whether it be unsightly properties, potholes, anything like that. So I definitely encourage anyone watching or listening to download that app and put in your concerns. As far as, the properties that we have to deal with broken down fences and that, usually we get compliance. I can only think of a handful where we've had to engage someone when it comes to their fences, where they've either repainted it or just tore it down completely without having to go in and do anything further. So, and you had a third question, but, back alley, sorry. Back alleys are definitely a part of our unsightly property strategy. Most of the time when we're entering onto a property or have a problem with someone's front yard or backyard, it's usually overflown into their back alley. So we definitely include that most of all the time, if that answers your question. You're welcome.
Councillor Regner?
The report we got the other day as well, I just want for the public to know that you guys, I know you get kind of a bad rap in the community. However, out of the 242 tickets you wrote in February, you did give 90 warnings. And I think that's important for people to know that it's just not always there, that you are working with the community. So I just wanted that note.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Regner. Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that the Municipal Enforcement Quarterly Report be accepted as information. All those in favor? Carried. The next item we have on the agenda is delegations. We have the Grassland Soccer Association project update, and there will be a check presentation. Mr. Biet, are you coming up to the front?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me here today. A little over a year ago, GSA began work on a facility for our soccer community. In the community, the game has been a popular, affordable sport. Providing a place to play has become a strain as green space is a hot commodity, which brings me here today. I would like to thank our previous mayor and council, as well as our current mayor and council, for seeing their vision and letting our game grow and flourish. Deciding a viable location was one of our initial steps, and number 75 17th Street East became home in 2025, and GSA hit the ground running with great enthusiasm. The association has met with the Greystone residents to engage their concerns and hear their excitement about what lies ahead in their community. Once residents were consulted and issues were mitigated, the association worked with Fortis to develop a plan to remove the overhead power line within our work area. The cost of roughly $43,000 was identified to have that line removed and give us future service capabilities and a power backup for 14th Street East. The fundraising committee then discussed how to develop our facility in a staged approach, but with the shortest timeline possible. As you guys well know, election happened. It caused a little bit of a delay in us starting our work, but the committee worked diligently to stay on task, securing in-kind work, fundraising, and grants which continue to be an ongoing process to build a place we can all be proud of. We were unable to begin last fall due to work commitments from our local contractor that we have secured to do land leveling and build our parking lot. Weather dependent, it was decided to start the work in the spring, which is referenced as step 1 of stage 1. Step 2 of stage 1 will be to install underground irrigation main line with service lines for the first 2 large pitches, and all other pitches will be irrigated in future phases. Step 3 of stage 1 will be the installation of sod, as it is the best chance to establish a surface that will take the continual use by the community. As funding support continues to become available for our group, our planned stage approach will make sure we stay on track with our goals and push the project forward. The association would like to extend a huge thank you for your time today and continued support for a huge need in our city and our county. Built for a community by a community.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank you and your board for all the work that you have done in getting this project up and running, because there has been a lot of work there. Does anyone have any questions for Grasslands President yet? Councillor Idris?
Thank you very much for the update. Can you give us a timeline of when will you be able to have your first season on the grounds?
Councillor Idris, we are hoping obviously for the spring of 2027, but as you well know, financial constraints will obviously delegate how we proceed. We want to make this thing a state-of-the-art type facility that will attract other things just than our community use. So we're really hoping for 2027, and we're really making that push, but as money is the biggest factor, you well know, we will proceed as things become available.
Councillor Nesbitt?
Through the chair to Brad. Brad, thanks again for all your hard work. We really do appreciate it and looking forward to that being used in 2027. And you mentioned fundraising, and with some of the grants that you're going to go forward with, there's a 50-50 component to some of them. So I would encourage everybody that's watching this program or anybody anywhere throughout this network, if you can support this project, please do, because those grants can be matched through one of these through community facility enhancement type of grants available, right? So that's my plug for today for you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Now, Councillor Tiffin. Or Councillor Director Tiffin. Sure. Well, I've done that a few times. Director Tiffin, you have a check presentation? Okay, we'll call up Brad. So it's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the Grassland Soccer Association product update be accepted as information. All those in favor? Carried. Next item on the agenda is the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce, and we have President Aaron Fleming and Lisa Dressler, the Executive Director, and Rob Goldade, who isn't on the list, but we better announce him anyway.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate Mayor and Council for having us here and for giving us a few minutes of your council meeting to share a little bit about the Chamber with you. As many of you are aware, we're in our second year in Brooks, Bassano, Dutchess, in this area, and just wanted to share a little bit about what we've accomplished and what we plan to accomplish in the coming years. And as you'll see, if this clicker works, there we go. Mission, vision, purpose. I would say the biggest thing, as this is in your council package, is the Chamber of Commerce is the voice of business. That is the biggest thing that we want to be, especially that we want to be in your community. Whether it be, you know, the single individual business or the 66 businesses that we have currently, or the vision that we have of the hundreds of businesses that we look at growing in the city of Brooks and in the county of Newell. That is what we want to do, is to be the voice of business and to speak for the individual businesses that are in this area. As you can see, as I said, our mission, vision, and purpose that's up there. I won't read it to you, knowing what our time that we have is. Where am I to point to advance this? There we go. Becoming a member has its advantages. As you can see, there's various business supports and resources, how we can expand our network. Within the business network, many networks that we have within Brooks, as well as within the Chamber network as a whole. So individual businesses will have their thoughts and ideas and growth and interests, whether that be locally or whether that be provincially or whether it be interests that are federally, how they can grow through their network. Local first messaging, that's the big important thing to us, which we know is important to you as well within Brooks, is how do we support local first messaging? And that is very important to us as your chamber. And then shape the business environment is within your strategic plan. How do we help you shape the business environment here as your Chamber of Commerce to be the voice of business for what you're looking for? Wherever that clicker is, there we go.
Thank you, Mayor and members of Council. It's certainly an honor to be here to be able to present to you. And in addition to our three core pillars of connection, support, and influence, obviously we have a few more perks that we provide to our business community, whether that's through adding content to our website so that businesses can enhance and increase their SEO, or various cost savings and discounts that businesses can access that they would use on services that they typically access each and every day in their business, or whether it's amplifying their voice through our social media. We share content from our members, and you certainly have a couple here in Brooks that are active users of our social media engagement and share their information on our social media. And so it's our opportunity to engage with our network across Southeast Alberta and profile the businesses here in the Brooks-Newell region even that much more. We started from scratch when we came into the Brooks-Newell region, and so we started at net zero members and grew that membership to 66 that we have today. However, we do share information with all businesses that we have contact information for in the Brooks-Newell region. So we have 645 that do receive our monthly newsletter, and we do have events that are scheduled within the Brooks Newell region specifically. So from September, our fiscal year starts September 1st through until August 31st, we have 20 scheduled events. So some obviously that have already occurred and some yet to come. And I'm quite excited. I'll be back in Brooks and Bassano this Thursday. For a roundtable, we're going to be having a meeting with the mayor and the new CAO in Bassano, and we have some meetings here as well as a grand opening at the YMCA. And then we'll be back. I'll be traveling back just for fun for the Sip and Sample at Shawarma County on the 31st. So we encourage everybody to come out and support that event. We've made a significant investment in the Brooks Newell region since launching here. And so that $292,000, obviously as a non-government funded organization, is money that we've invested back into the Brooks Newell region from our Chamber of Commerce. We've talked a little bit about the events that we have. So the Sip and Sample is a new event that we're hosting here that we're doing in partnership with our restaurants that are members. Our Local Unlocked, which is a behind the business and trying to provide some exposure to local businesses and what they do here. And then the McMorning. So if you've followed the social media feed and you've nominated businesses here, you'll see that we are recognizing businesses in the Brooks Newell region that are going above and beyond. I won't go into the details in terms of our annual report. So this is 24-25, so with the concluding year, August 31st, 2025. Number of members that we have in the Brooks Newell region, obviously a lot of driving. We cover about 20,000 square kilometers in the Southeast Alberta region, so we put a lot of kilometers on, and some grand openings that we have done and continue to do, and the number of events that we have. Trade show, we've been really pleased to see the growth of that trade show over the last couple of years. We understand that Brooks used to have a fall festival, and so we thought there was a good opportunity, as opposed to competing with local vendors, having a unique opportunity in the fall to showcase the region and those vendors. So the first year we had 74, we grew that to 105, sold out the fall show in the field house, and we're looking to expand into the Flex Hall next October, or this October 2026. You can see some of the details in terms of our successes over the last year in 24-25. We also had the opportunity to bid on and were the successful recipient of hosting the Alberta Chamber Provincial Conference and showcasing the region to our attendees, with I think over 90% of them saying they are interested in coming back to the region. To explore and do a little bit more here in Southeast Alberta. You can see our communication stats, and that's consistently growing. So in addition to the Brooks newsletter that we produce each month, we also have a weekly newsletter that we have. And so the details are in the report. We'll certainly be opening it up to questions, but I'll turn it back over to Aaron for our advocacy and some of the other highlights to close us off.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, for that. The advocacy, as you can see here, advocacy is a big part of what the Chamber does as far as policies and advocating for what our businesses are looking for when talking to the government. And as you'll see here, there's a number of policies that have been passed, and so that just means they've gone to the Alberta Chamber's level, or they've gone to the federal Chamber's level to be advocated for with various different levels of government. And you know, in respect of time, there are multiple policies that we can talk about of what they've done for local businesses and the benefits that local businesses have received based on policy wins, and how the chambers advocate for those. And also feel free to hit us up at any time to say what are the policies that we're working on right now, and how could those help out local businesses. We'd be happy to have conversations on those. As you'll see as well, the letters that are sent and the government meetings that we've had. Lisa and I were just up in Edmonton last week to have conversations with Minister Amory as well as with Minister Sigurdsson, and you know, to have conversations with those around so agriculture being one of the main concerns, not concerns, but discussions here in Southern Alberta, and huge in our area here. So those were great discussions that we had. 125th year. One thing that really impressed me, that has impressed me a lot with the Chamber, especially going back in 125 years, is is how involved the chamber has been in the past and how I think the chamber needs to be involved again in the future of the growth of business and the do side of business. And I think that that's something that that I think councils have been impressed with and engaging towards, is to actually get things done, to see things move forward, especially on the business side, of what the chamber has helped accomplish in the past. And that's what I look at to see how we look at things accomplishing in the forward, moving forward. So unveiling Commerce Way in Medicine Hat is one of those things. Number 5 in the top 10 fastest growing chambers in Canada. Those things only matter if we're actually doing things. It's nice to have a plaque on the wall, but what are we actually doing with that? And so those are some of the things that I look at as we sit here and present is what are we doing for the city of Brooks and Newell area to move those forward. So those are the things that we would say, come back and challenge us with questions on, so that how can we build those forward for you and help out with that to be a portion of that. So yeah, as we said, hosted the ACC's 86th annual AGM and just some of those move forward parts there. Some testimonials here. We've got a decent testimonial up there from a gentleman. His name's Rob Goldade. If we don't get questions right away, we might just ask him to share a few pieces on that. This is our team. So Naomi is here in Brooks, as many of you know her and her face, and she's fantastic. And then many support staff as well in head office. But our team is there, ready, willing to have conversations and move things forward. And so connect with us. We're here and happy to help out at any time. And questions. So any questions from you, Mayor, and your councillors?
Well, no, but I want to thank you for coming out and explaining the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce, because a few of us that are up here have been presidents of the Chamber of Commerce in the past, and I know we've got a few of us that are in here that have been members of the Chamber of Commerce in the past, so it's good to hear what you have to say. But actually what I want to do is I want to turn it over now to Councillor Nesbitt, who will read her little speech up there.
Through the chair to the chamber. Gotta get my glasses on though. Wait, nope. Thank you. Get it out. Oh, gee. There it goes. Hold on, I got it. 125th year. I've always been a strong supporter of the Chamber of Commerce, being a past 2-term president in Brooks. I was disappointed when the local chamber closed and thrilled when the Medicine Hat group stepped in and took on our area under the umbrella of the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce. The staff and executive director have proven already to be valuable contacts, sharing information that will benefit my business, offering discount opportunities that I didn't realize existed, including even the perolator rate reduction, which I signed up for. Anytime a small business can cut expenses, it is a plus. Good work, everyone, and thank you for your energy and expertise that Brooks needs. And that's Mary Nesbitt, Work and Play, and past president of the Chamber of Commerce of Brooks.
And Board Member Goldade, would you like to say anything?
Thank you. Just the opportunity, I guess, as it says up there, I managed the business in Medicine Hat for 7 years, commuted back and forth every day, working for that company. And for 7 years, that chamber always was, the Southeast Chamber was, at that time it was the Medicine Hat Chamber, but then became the Southeast Chamber, was always there for anything that we needed and great support. So when I heard that we were going to be part of the Southeast Chamber, I couldn't get kind of signed up quick enough because I knew of all the great things that they would help us with and help us to grow as a business community here in our community. It was no different. What they did in Medicine Hat, we're doing here and trying every day very hard to grow it better for us as a business community. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for those 2 testimonials. Now questions, Councillor Idris.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for the brief. I think the Chamber of Commerce, your Chamber of Commerce, the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce, have done an awesome work since they came to Brooks. There is a lot of benefits. I look at the numbers and it's baffling, like why not more businesses are getting membership. Have you looked at reasons? Are you doing things differently to find more membership within the community here? What can we help with to add that membership number? Because I think the more we have in terms of members, the more benefits the chamber can provide.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think it's a great question. I think in discussions that we've had before with that, especially when you look at the increases and decreases that the chamber has had in the past, I think it's about regaining trust is really what it comes down to. I know myself, if I put myself in the position of business owners in Brooks, in this area, when you see chambers that have been successful and then drop off and then successful and then drop off, I know myself that it would be difficult to actually gain that trust back. And I think that's probably a lot about what we're seeing. So I don't take it as that it's anything where the chamber's unsuccessful in that, or anything where the city of Brooks or the county of Newell could do anything that's better. I think it's just on us to prove that it's that we're here for the long haul, and that we're actually here to do what we say that we're going to do. And I think that it's okay that it's going to take a little bit longer to actually do that, because I think that when we actually show that and prove that those numbers will continue to grow, and that the strength of the chamber will actually show through and be there for a longer haul. I believe that. I've been involved with the chamber for 13 years myself, both as through a presidency with the Medicine Hat District Chamber of Commerce previously, and then 7 years on the Alberta Chamber of Commerce, and now back as the president with the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce. And so I've seen the strength of the chamber network, and so to see the involvement and to know of the tenure of the chamber the way that it is, yes, I'd love to see the chamber grow, and I'd love to see it flourish the way that I know that it can be here in Brooks. And when it does, it will be a great thing. I would say that anybody that is a member of the chamber, to pass that on. Councillor Nesbitt, your testimonial there, fantastic. And I'm sure you share that on a regular basis. And I'm sure that anybody that does share that within town, continue to share that. Bring somebody out to an event that the chamber has, and show that we are here, because we're not going to go anywhere, and it truly is about Brooks. I know myself one thing, and I'll make it a brief answer, I promise. But like one of the things that really bothers me as somebody that is a hatter that lives in Medicine Hat is where they say that Medicine Hat's the forgotten corner. And I hear that oftentimes here in Brooks too, where it's like, okay, well, we need to grow this area. We need to grow Brooks. I think those mentalities are very, very similar, right? We want to be able to see this region grow. We want to be able to see these areas be very, very successful. And I look that they can be successful together. And that for them to be successful together, it's I was saying to Lisa on the way up here, is that, it's local. We need to shop local, and we need to shop local first. It needs to be here first, and then how do we go from there? And that's what I look at it, is that, this isn't the forgotten corner. This is the most important corner first, and we can build that together. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and very, very good approach from your chamber. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Johnson?
Thank you. Through the chair to the delegation. So for me, I'm sure there's others on council that own companies, but I'll give you my honest opinion of why I'm not part of the chamber, is because when I looked at it about a year ago, your whole page, and still, while I see big improvements, it was all about Medicine Hat. There was not one policy, there was not one item that was Brooks specific. Still, I see there's a lot of good, there's been a lot of change. When I saw that you guys were gonna be part of the, part of tonight's council, I did go back and look because I was very critical, to be quite honest, of you guys back in September and October, because there wasn't anything Brooks related. I see there's some Brooks events on your, but still, I think we need to go a long way. For example, when you look at your small business toolkit, it has the logo for City of Medicine Hat. Nothing about Brooks. If you gauge your market, it's all about the City of Medicine Hat. There's nothing there for Brooks. So I think, to answer maybe Councillor Idris's question for me specifically, my market is Brooks, and I didn't see a lot there for us yet. Although I just wanted to put it on the record, I do see some improvement. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, if I can, through the chair, great comments. And I think that as we build it out, you'll find that as that as questions come back to the chamber, that we can build those things out. Like when you look at small business toolkits or things like that, those are oftentimes built out because of where they're from. And you'll see those Medicine Hat resources. As we can tie those to Brooks resources, I don't know, and Lisa would probably be better to comment on that, but the Medicine Hat Small Business Toolkit is there because we know of where all those connections are there. And it could be just as applicable to Brooks as far as where those government resources are tied to help small business. But yeah, I'll let Lisa answer that one. She's better to answer that there.
For sure. And thank you for expressing some of the challenges. We certainly recognize them and working to address them. One of the pieces with regards to policy, because we are a member-driven organization, our policies are grassroots. So in order to have policies pertinent to Brooks and Newell, we need to have those come forward from the business community. We don't want to pull issues out of thin air. We want to ensure that they are member-driven. And so with regards to policies, when our business community engages, those, you will see them developed as those come forward. But we absolutely need, and it's necessary for us to have that feedback and input from the business community in order to develop positions. When we expanded into the Brooks Newell region, we did update our PDF of our business toolkit. So there's links to the Brooks Newell economic development. On our events calendar, we link to Brooks Region Tourism calendar, because we know not everybody is going to submit their events to our webpage, so we want to make sure the information is accessible. And then we launched the Brooks Newell Business Directory because we knew that having a dedicated directory, or at least, having that what we call a vanity domain that redirects to that directory, was also important. So feedback is critical for us to be able to continue to grow and update and amend and add, that valuable content. But we absolutely have to hear from our member businesses to make sure we can be responsive to their needs, because we also don't want to do things that are incongruent with the business community. We want to ensure that we're very much aligned and moving forward based on the feedback from our members. And so part of that is, serving our business community. And I'm sure you know as well as I do how much people just love surveys and engage in those. So it's sometimes challenging. The popping in that Naomi is doing and visiting businesses to get their feedback. But we will work, and we do work tirelessly to try to make improvements and try to do what we can where we can, for sure.
Any further questions? Councillor Nesbitt?
Through the chair to Lisa. Thank you for your presentations. That's excellent. Mayor Norm and I were past presidents 20 plus years ago now. So, and we did have membership here in our community of over between 200-300 people at one time, businesses. I would encourage people that are in our business community to connect with you because there is a lot of opportunity. And I like the statements that you made. So I hope that somebody's listening and that they will connect with you. Thank you.
Councillor Idris?
Thank you. I know when you started, you almost saved a spot on the board for a board member from Brooks. And thank you. But also you mentioned that there will be like policy committees and other committees that you are looking for membership for. Are you successful in that? Do you have anybody joining these?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Idris. We do have our Business Advisory Committee that we've had members from Brooks participate in. We have active participation in our Executive Director Network. We've had participation through our Health and Wellness Network, but similar to policy. We are more than happy and willing to create those opportunities here and have them here. We have obviously virtual connectivity into our standing committees that already exist. And so how we've addressed that in the interim is having business roundtables. And so inviting our members and potential members out to our business roundtables, such as the one that we're hosting this Thursday, to gather their feedback, to kind of have at least an avenue where businesses could express some of their challenges, their questions, and they have been really well attended. And we've been able to develop tools. So going back to the toolkit, one of the things that we found out from one of the roundtables is businesses didn't know how to claim their Google listing, their business listing on Google. So we created basically a cheat sheet that's available now in our info hub and can be distributed to our member businesses. Another one was actually a concern with regards to cold storage. And so we took a tour of the CDC, which is a fantastic center that we've been promoting at every opportunity, and even in our meeting with Minister Sigurdsson, and being able to identify that there was freezer and cooler space at the CDC. So if we're looking at beef processing, what would be options if a producer needed to store processed beef and they didn't have the capacity. So it's brainstorming and troubleshooting, and beyond just developing policy, it's real-time solutions for businesses that are coming forward, because we always say if we don't have the answer, chances are we know somebody that does, and our connections are invaluable. So because we connect locally, provincially, federally, and actually internationally through the International Chambers of Commerce, we have connections at all levels that we can reach out to. So again, make it just, the simplest way to describe it is, if you could hire an employee for less than $1 a day, would you? Probably. If you could have somebody in your back pocket that is there to answer your questions, or is so connected and resourceful that they're going to be able to find you answers.
Councillor Regner?
Thank you for that. Question: for 2 years, you've been in Brooks now, 863 businesses, I believe, is the last number I heard for Brooks in the County of Newell. So that's about 8%. So do you actively knock on doors, or do you wait for people to contact you? Have you talked to majority of the people in the area?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Thank you for that, Councillor. We do actively knock on doors. So Naomi is out there regularly doing that. So not only with existing members, but also with new members. And with her being the employee here, so she'll be out, answering questions, doing advocacy, onboarding new members, doing all of that sort of stuff, but also talking to new and potential members. So, as you're well aware, I mean, that'll take a lot of time, even with new members. But yeah, she is actively working on new membership as well. She does have a new membership goal monthly, as well, and working towards that. So we do have growth goals from a governance level of what we're looking at from the board side. And so I do strongly believe, speaking from the board level, that you're going to see quite a bit of growth in 2026, a lot more than you have seen in the past years. And I truly hope that, in the coming months that you'll be able to see reports of a lot more growth than you have seen in the last couple of years. And a lot of that being especially through, because you will see getting past a lot of that challenge of, from the growth of 0 to the growth of where we're at right now. And it, that moving forward, because it's building some steam.
Just to piggyback Councillor Johnson's comment, you and I've had several comments as well. Happy to see your webpage update.
Thank you.
Councillor Nesbitt?
One more quick question. Could you tell me a little bit about your new entrepreneurial legacy fund? What that supports?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Councillor Nisbet. Through the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta, through our 125th anniversary, we provided some seed funding into that legacy fund. And the intention of that will be to support entrepreneurial activity through, of course, recipients that are eligible through the Community Foundation of Southeast Alberta, because there are certain criteria, whether that's municipalities, schools, or post-secondaries, or charitable organizations. And so, whether that be, say, Rolling Hills or the Urban Agricultural Discovery Center, or we do have a scholarship as well through the Medicine Hat College that's separate from this entrepreneur. So students in Brooks would be eligible to apply for that scholarship each year as well. And so really the intention is to grow that fund so that, again, for those of you who are familiar with the endowment funds through the Community Foundation, that will grow in perpetuity, and the interest earned from that fund will then be able to be given back into community so that we can support specific projects that drive entrepreneurs within the community. So our youth, our young people really would be a big target for that, or the audience that we'd like to support, and ensure that they get the seed funding or supports to be able to grow that business right at home. If I could, Mayor, and I just wanted to add on to Councillor Regner's question about the business visitations in particular. So we did do a Chamber Connect in 2025, where we actually close down our offices and we go out into the community and visit businesses to try to collect some of that data. And there were 155 businesses within that 2-week time frame that we dedicated to visiting businesses. And then Naomi also does a poppin' in. So if you haven't seen her with popcorn and popping into your business for a visit, certainly reach out. And we try to ensure we're also not intrusive, because I also know that we're trying to build that trust and respect within the community. And so, people are a little bit leery and reluctant still with the experiences they may have had with the Chamber previously. So we're trying to just balance that in terms of approach, but trying various different means to connect with the business community as best we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Idris that the Southeast Alberta Chamber of Commerce update be accepted as information. All those in favor? Carried. And thank you very much, President Aaron and Executive Director Lisa and Board Member Goldie. Thank you for coming in. The next item that we have on the agenda is correspondence and information. We have the update from council conferences and/or workshops and the notes from Municipal Planning Commission minutes from February 25th, 2026. So it's been moved by Councillor Phillipson that the following items of correspondence be received as information. Are there any questions pertaining to the information that you have received? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Carried. Administrative reports, the extended producer responsibility, and I'm calling upon Communications Officer Jones. Oh, he's already in front of me. Okay, there he is. So go ahead.
Through the chair to mayor and council, before you is the Extended Producer Responsibility Program report. It includes all the information we have up to date, but I'm going to give a quick overview of the program. So EPR is Alberta's new recycling system. It shifts the responsibility for recycling, packaging, and paper products onto the producers who create them. Brooks has never had curbside recycling before. Under EPR, residents will receive bi-weekly curbside recycling at no cost to the city or to residents because the program is fully funded by producers. Brooks will transition into the EPR system in October of this year. Circular Materials is the organization responsible for operating the system. They oversee all services and public education. They issued an RFP on January 5th for curbside collection services. The successful contractor has not been announced yet. That contractor will be the main point of contact for residents for service issues such as missed pickups or cart repairs. Circular Materials will lead promotion and education supported by City Communications. A dedicated webpage and recycling app will provide schedules, alerts, and a list of accepted materials. Calendars and guides will be mailed directly to residents. The list of accepted materials will be available closer to launch. We're still early in the process and many details are still being finalized, and those will be finalized in the coming months. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have from the report.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Johnson.
Hi. Thank you. Through the chair to Jordan. The ongoing depot access, can we kind of just touch upon that? Because I have gotten a couple of calls about the depot closing down.
Yeah, no, it's not closing down. Residents will still have access to the newer recycling depot.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Falkenberg.
Through the chair to Jordan. Similar question. So we plan on maintaining staffing at that depot, even though we're not. Oh, so this new program will take over that depot? I'm not sure. Like, I'm just curious about financials. Like, are we paying to staff this city depot where people will take this, or will this transition? If you know what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Falkenberg. Yeah, I'll try to answer that as best as I can. But so nothing's happening to the new recycling depot, and I'm not sure what the contractor they chose, what their plan is for their recycling depot. If it's going to be new recycling, we don't know what part they're going to play at this point, honestly. And like I said, we're still very early in this process, and this report is really just for letting everyone know that it's coming and things are planned. But yeah, those details haven't been worked out yet. But once we do receive that information, it'll be brought to you.
Interim CEO Legore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the city will not be paying for any staff at the Recycling Association. We currently provide a grant to the Recycling Association through utility fees, and we will be reviewing that come October 1st once we know what the full terms of the new program are as to how much will apply to the residents. But there still will be an option for some drop-offs within the community. What extent, that will be determined at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Johnson that the administrative report, Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR program, be accepted as information. All those in favor? Carried. The next item on the agenda is policy E-004-002, sidewalk maintenance and repair, and Manager of Public Works, Todd Baylor.
Good afternoon. I'm bringing forward our sidewalk maintenance and repair policy. This policy outlines our current practices and procedures in regards to assessing our sidewalks. Right now, at this time, we have a contractor assess the sidewalks every second year, and the city staff themselves assess it yearly. All repairs and whatnot are also outlined in the same policy, how we go about that and the different procedures. There are no financial implications if this policy is approved as written. If anything changes or whatever, there may be some budget adjustments that would be needed, but at this time, as presented, there would be no financial implications at all. We are recommending council approve the policy as written. And if there's any other questions, I am open to that.
Thank you very much. Manager Baylor, any questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that council approve policy E-004-002 entitled Sidewalk Maintenance Repair. All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is policy E-004-003, traffic control devices, and we have the manager of utilities, Mr. Axworthy. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon. The traffic control device policy outlines the current practice that the Utilities Department adheres to when determining if and when the control devices will be used within the city. The attached policy provides the criteria and evaluation factors required for traffic control devices to be installed or considered. It provides clear guidance to ensure requests are assessed consistently throughout the city. Administration recommends that council approves the policy as read.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions regarding the traffic control devices? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt. The council approved policy E-004-003 entitled Traffic Control Devices. All those in favor? Carried. The next item, number C, is policy E-004-005, blockages in residential sewer lines, and that again is Manager of Utilities Axworthy. Go right ahead.
The blockages in residential sewer lines policy outlines the current practice that the Utilities Department adheres to when responding to blockages in residential sewer lines. Specified timeframes are outlined as to how quickly the city will respond to a sewer backup complaint and what actions will be taken to address the concern. Administration recommends that council approve policy 004-005 as read.
Are there any questions on the blockages in residential sewer lines? Councillor Johnson.
Sorry, just one quick question, Mr. Axworthy, through the chair to Mr. Axworthy. The guideline, it says after receiving a complaint from a homeowner, the city will respond within 24 hours. Is that a real accurate timeline if we're talking about a Saturday morning or a long weekend? I just want to make
Through
that
the chair to
clear.
Councillor Johnson. Well, what it is, we got a 24-hour, but we had to put a timeline there. We have somebody on call 24/7, doesn't matter holidays. And when we get a complaint, unless there's another emergency that we're on and cannot leave at that point, we leave right away and check it out.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Axworthy.
Councillor Nesbitt.
Through the chair to Mr. Axworthy. I'd like to further commend your group, the team that you work with, in that anytime that I've ever seen an issue happen in our community, you're out there front and center and you work diligently until that's completed. And it's very much appreciated. I've had positive feedback from many. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, It's been moved by Councillor Idris that council approve policy E-004-005 entitled Blockages in Residential Sewer Lines. All those in favor? Carried. Next item on the agenda, D, policy C-004-020A, Recreation Fees Assistance, RFA policy, and that is being presented by Director of Recreation and Protective Services, Mr. Shantz.
Thank you. Through the chair to mayor and council, before you is a request for decision regarding the City of Brooks Recreation Fee Assistance Policy, also known as RFA. The Recreation Fee Assistance Program provides annual memberships for patronage of the JBS Canada Centre and Centennial Regional Arena to qualifying low-income individuals and families residing in the City of Brooks or County of Newell. The current process asks eligible applicants to contribute what they can afford to the annual membership. Currently, over 90% of the RFA memberships are provided free of charge. In 2025, there were 892 annual memberships issued by the City of Brooks. Previous council had directed city administration to review the current policies, including review of similar programs in other municipalities, with the examples listed below in the documentation you have. It's of note that the small cities and towns, which have a population of 10,000 to 50,000, which Brooks would be a similar comparable, have 7 municipalities providing between 10% to 75% reduced annual membership fees. Options up for discussion for council is option 1, adopt the attached revisions to the RFA policy, which includes 50% reduced annual fees on the City of Brooks recreation memberships for all qualified participants. Option 2 is do not adopt the attached revisions to the RFA policy. The current RFA program would continue to operate as originally outlined in the 2016 policy. Financial implications for this decision. In 2025, 892 RFA annual memberships were issued. The lost face value membership revenue was valued at approximately $238,000, not including associated administrative processing costs or other user-created expenses. Recommendation to council from administration is administration recommends that council approves policy C-004-020A entitled Recreation Fee Assistance.
Thank you very much, Director Shantz. Any questions? Councillor Johnson?
Thank you. Through the chair to Director Shantz, just a couple of points that I wanted to make. So the 892 and the 892 memberships, the 238,000, that was based on 90% of those memberships receiving free of charge. So the new policy, I believe we're doing 50%. 50? Am I correct in saying that?
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, that's correct. It's 50% discount. The majority of people are receiving 100% discount right now. So the $238,000 approximately, that is the face value of the membership. So just like a concert ticket or a sporting event, what you see is the dollar amount total.
Perfect. So we'll, next year, if we vote on this and we accept the new changes, we'll get a different number?
Yes. So
Perfect. We're tracking that is what I'm getting at.
Correct. It is tracked every year.
Thank you.
Councillor Nesbitt?
Through the chair to Director Shantz. I was just going to comment on our previous bylaw, the past bylaw. We had it designated that if your approval will not be granted if you're a full-time university/college student. We removed that with the understanding that they would be taken care of under the household income below the LICO, which is the low income cutoff, because we felt that our university college students still need that support, but they would be identified under that area, right? We don't actually have their name up in that box.
Through the chair, that's correct. They've been removed. So if they are under the income threshold, if they are university students or college students, they'll still be eligible.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Regner that council approve policy C-004 20 bracket A, entitled Recreation Fee Assistance. All those in favor? Carried. The next topic, number E, Spec Association request for JBS Canada Centre booking, and that's from the Manager of Recreation Services, Director Williams. There you are, right in front of me.
Through the chair to council and mayor, the Spec Association delivers a range of programs and services to individuals and families within the community. Since April 2023, Spec has operated the Youth Connections program every Wednesday in the BIM viewing area, which we call the mezzanine, of the JBS Canada Centre. The program is offered at no cost to participants and provides a supervised, supportive space for youth aged 11 to 17 years within the facility. The program sees an average of 160 youth a month and has partnered with over 7 youth-serving organizations to increase access to resources and free programming to all youth in the community. SPEC has received free use of the BIM viewing area since the Youth Connection program began in April 2023. During the most recent program grant cycle, SPEC requested and received continued support from Council for the duration of the current grant period spanning April 2024 to March 2026. The program is currently funded through a grant that was scheduled to conclude on March 31st, 2026. Due to updates underway within the grant intake process, SPEC has received a 3-month extension allowing the program to continue until June 30th, 2026. SPEC is requesting permission to continue use of the viewing area on Wednesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. for the duration of this extension. In accordance with Policy F001001, grants to organizations, SPEC is also requesting that the associated fees for this booking be waived. Your discussion options are 1, to waive the rental fees and allow SPEC to continue use of the BIM viewing area to facilitate the Youth Connections program until June 30th, 2026, or don't waive the fees and the SPEC's use of the BIM viewing area will conclude in March 31st, 2026. It is administration's recommendation that council approve SPEC's association's request for facility bookings at the JBS Canada Centre with all associated fees waived for the Youth Connection program until June 30th, 2026.
Thank you very much, Director Williams. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Phillipson that council approves Spec Association's request for facility bookings at the JBS Canada Centre with all associated fees waived for the Youth Connections program until June 30th, 2026. All those in favor? Carried. We'll move on to Controller Signing Authority, and that will be the Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Leibel.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, with a new controller working for the city, we would like to get him signing authority. This is related to banking documents and financial institutions. As you know, the City of Brooks has a number of different institutions we work with, and this will ease those transactions for him to have signing authority. So with that, I hand it back to council for any questions or approval.
Does anyone have any questions for Director Leibel? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that council approve signing authority for the controller of the City of Brooks. All those in favor? Carried. City of Brooks, 2029 or 2026 to 2029 strategic plan, and that is interim CAO, Mr. Legore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to council. In January, council spent 2 days working with an outside facilitator developing a strategic plan. 3 pillars have been identified: community building, infrastructure, sustainability. Administration is now working on a work plan, and we will update council quarterly on the implementation of the strategic plan. With that, I'm prepared to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for CAO Legore? Councillor Phillipson.
Through the chair, maybe just a comment. I like to see that work plan, to have actually an action list because the strategic plan, it looks very nice, but it's kind of high level. So I'm looking forward to the work plan.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, the work plan is granular and will provide you with the detail of how we will be implementing the strategic plan. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that council formally adopt the City of Brooks 2026 to 2029 strategic plan. All those in favor? Carried. The next item is the portable sign permit application, major variance. Councillor Regner?
I have a conflict on this one, so I'll be stepping out of chambers for that.
Okay, thank you very much for noticing that one. And so the next item is the portable sign permit application, major variance, and that comes under the Development Control Officer, Ms. Boulay.
Thank you. Through the Chair to Mayor and Council, the City of Brooks has received a portable sign major variance request. This time the proposal is located at the intersection of Castles Road and 7th Street East. Attached to the RFD is a site plan which shows you the location of the proposed sign. As the sign conflicts with the requirements of the portable sign bylaw, this would be considered a major variance, and therefore the authority is delegated to council to make a decision on the application. In the discussion, I have outlined the reason for request by the applicant, as well as the operational and legislative restraints, which brings me to my recommendation that council deny the major variance request. However, I do want to be very clear, the recommendation is not based on the contents of the sign. It is solely based on the location of the sign and the request's conflict with the provisions of the bylaw and the operational considerations. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Boulay. Any questions? Councillor Falkenberg.
Through the chair to Ms. Belay, I'm just curious why that location? Why did they feel that was necessary?
Sure. So the applicant, when they presented the request, followed up with me afterwards. So I included everything that they had provided when they requested the variance in the report. However, afterwards they followed up to express that they felt that the portable sign bylaw restricts portable signs in residential areas as well as on city-owned boulevards, which means the only areas available to them are commercially and industrially zoned parcels of land. However, the bylaw further restricts how many signs can be placed on a parcel of land, and it limits it to 2 signs per parcel, or if there's a parcel with multiple businesses, 1 sign per business. And they felt that there was not a lot of available land that is privately owned that they could place a sign on. So therefore, they're looking at city-owned boulevards to get better visibility.
Councillor Nesbitt.
Through the chair to Ms. Boulay. Okay, thank you for enforcing our bylaw, or suggesting that we carry through and enforce our bylaw, because I think that's very, very important that we do that. The one question I have is, on Castles Road, on the other side, there are 2 signs that are placed on a strip of land. I know it's not a matured green-spaced boulevard, but I think it's still city-owned property, is it not, on that left, like as we're heading east on the way to Harwood Ford? And I just wonder the difference, like how are those ones being allowed, and we're questioning this one now. I just need to follow, I don't know. So if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to clarify exactly which signs you're referring to and whether or not they're portable signs or permanent freestanding signs, because there is a differentiation between the two. I believe the ones that you're referring to are actually on privately owned property. It's just vacant property, so it maybe could be confused with city-owned property. Is it near the Ward Pond?
Yes, it
That
is.
Yeah, so those are 2 portable signs and they're on privately owned property in compliance with the bylaw.
Vacation.
But
I
that
appreciate
parcel
it.
is full for the record, so it can't handle any more
We can't
portable
handle
signs.
anymore. Thank you.
Councillor Phillipson?
I think we should keep the boulevard as wide open as we can so staff can cut the grass, remove snow, and it looks so much better if it's, without signage.
Okay. Councillor Johnson?
Thank you, through the chair, to anybody listen. I think this is why we were debating the other sign issue that we had about a month ago. And I think the reason why we put such a short time frame on it was because of grass cutting and stuff. I think that was our methodology on that. So I'm inclined to agree with the rest of you guys, based on the time of year as opposed to necessarily where its location is.
Councillor Falkenberg?
I'd just like to comment on that. The last sign, I very specifically voted in favor of to help promote a new business. Whereas this seems like something that can be advertised in many ways in many areas. This specific location is not required, in my opinion. So I just wanted to clarify that that's the difference, in my opinion. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other further questions? Okay, seeing none, it has been moved by Councillor Idris that council deny the portable sign major variance request. All those in favor? Carried. And I guess now we should probably invite Councillor Regner back in. Okay, item I, appointment of 2025 municipal auditor, Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Leibel.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the Mayor to Council, for 2025 fiscal year, we need to appoint a municipal auditor, and our recommendation is appointing KPMG LLP. This is under Section 280, Bracket 1 of the MGA, which requires council appoint an auditor. And this is a financial auditor who comes on an annual basis to review our financial statements as well as our financial records for that year. So turn it back to council for any questions and passing the motion.
Thank you very much, Director Leibel. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Regner that council appoint KPMG LLP as the auditor for the City of Brooks for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. All of those in favor? Carried. We will move on to section 11, which is, first item is A, bylaws 26-004 through 26-007, Development Authority bylaw amendments. And we will have Director Tiffin speak to this one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Through you to all of council, on December 15th, 2025, council approved a motion to transfer the authority of the Development and Subdivision Authority from the Municipal Planning Commission. And in order to implement this, a number of bylaws were affected and required amendments. The first three bylaws have been given first, second, and third reading and have been approved, and there are 4 remaining bylaws. The first is an amendment to the land use bylaw, in which any reference to Municipal Planning Commission was removed and, where applicable, replaced with either Development Authority or Subdivision Authority. The Development Officer has been given 100% variance powers on measurable standards, except for parking, which has been set at 50% variance power for new construction. The Development Officer has been given authority over discretionary use applications, time extensions, and similar use applications. And the notification of landowners and affected persons is now required for discretionary use applications, any variance over 50% for new construction, and when a requested variance exceeds 25% of the minimum required parking. The next bylaw for your consideration is the repealing bylaw, which repeals the previously approved Development Authority bylaw, the MPC bylaw, the subdivision bylaw, and all amendments to each. Next is the Development Authority bylaw, which is a bylaw required by the MGA, which officially designates the Development Authority. And finally is a Subdivision Authority bylaw, which again is required by the MGA and officially designates the Subdivision Authority. These bylaws were circulated and the public was notified as per our public notification bylaw. No comments or concerns were provided by the public, and no members of the public attended the public hearings, which were held on February 23rd. The changes were also discussed with the Intermunicipal Development Plan Committee on February 13th, and there were no issues identified at that time. So as such, staff is recommending that council give second and third readings to bylaw 26004, 26005, 26006, and 26007.
Thank you very much, Director Tiffin. Are there any questions? Councillor Regner.
Guess mine's more of a statement. Through all this before, I'm not a very big proponent of this. So I was still not completely comfortable with this, removing the public input into the development of growth of Brooks by the removal of the MPC and putting some 100% variances. Those decisions in the hands of one person is a serious change. I want the public to know that this change would be monitored in reports and will be addressed if the change is not benefiting the community. My vote will reflect the implementation of the checks and balances that will result in accountability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Regner. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, this will be kind of lengthy because there's about 8 of them here. So I will go to the very first one, and it has been moved by Councillor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-004 be read a second time. Any questions? None? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Johnson that bylaw number 26-004, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, to amend bylaw number 14-12, being the land use bylaw, be read a third time and adopted. It has to be unanimous? No? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. We'll move on to bylaw 26-005, and it's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26-005 be read a second time. All those in favor? Carried. It has been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-005, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, to repeal the Planning Authority's bylaws, be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. On to 26-006. It has been moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 26-006 be read a second time. All those in favor? Carried. It has been moved by Councillor Regner that bylaw number 26-006, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to establish a development authority, be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. On to 26-007. Moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 26-007 be read a second time. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Johnson that bylaw number 26-007, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to establish a subdivision authority, be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. We're moving on to bylaw number 26-009, non-residential tax increase. incentive program, I should say. Well, I'm close. Tax incentive program, and that one is being presented by Mr. Owasa.
Good afternoon. CEO Lagore, did you? No, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for having me. The Municipal Government Act permits municipalities to offer tax incentive programs to spur property development. The proposed non-residential tax incentive bylaw was presented to Council Committee on February 17th, at which time Council requested some changes. Revised RFD was presented to Council Committee on March 17th. The proposed bylaw maintains the following preferred options with the changes requested by Council. These include the exemption may be granted to any non-residential development permit that has a value of $5 million or greater. The exemption is 50% of the increased tax assessment for up to 5 years. The new development should create at least 10 full-time jobs. And with the addition that the CAO will have the ability to approve an application that may not meet the criteria with input from Council. So our recommendation from administration recommends that Council provide first, second, and third readings for the bylaw 26009, the non-residential tax incentive program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owasa. Are there any questions? Or Councillor Nesbitt?
Through the chair to CAO, intern CAO, Doug Lagore, I requested a slight amendment, a friendly amendment, if at all possible, if that can be addressed.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my recommendation is we deal with the amendment by motion, and I think we should do that at second reading. Thank you.
Moving ahead, it's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26, or was there any other questions? No? No, first reading you can't. Moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26-009, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to authorize municipal tax reductions for the eligible non-residential properties under the non-residential development tax incentive program be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Okay, the next one that's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt, that bylaw number 26-009 be read a second time. Interim CEO Lagore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I recommend that a councillor move an amendment to second reading to amend Section 315 of bylaw 26-009 to add the following. The CAO will advise council if any approvals are granted pursuant to Section 315.
Thank you very much. So the amendment that we are reading has been moved by Councillor Nesbitt, that the amendment Section 315 of bylaw 26-009 to add the CAO will advise council of any approvals that are granted pursuant to Section 315. Everybody? Councillor Johnson?
Through the chair to the mayor, I just want to clarify that Section 315 in its entirety is staying, and that is being added to 315. Just, I think we should read the whole section out when we're doing the vote.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, you don't need to read the whole section out because you're adding something to it.
Okay. So again, Councillor Nesbitt is putting in amendment to Section 315 of bylaw 26-009 to add the CAO will advise council of any approvals are granted pursuant to Section 315. Okay? Everybody's got it? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you very much. And it's been moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 26-009 be given 3 readings at this meeting, and it must be carried unanimously or defeated.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Not now?
We need to vote on the second reading as amended.
Okay. Go ahead. Put your microphone on.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that we're asking questions now before we're voting. Okay, through the chair to Mr. Iwasa, I just want to confirm that we are going to be keeping record of any applications on this, and we're going to be monitoring this program?
I actually probably defer to Director Leibel, since it is a tax. Would you be able to?
Yeah, I think, I guess it depends a little bit on the administration of the program, how that works, but either way, whatever department is administering it, there would be records kept, for sure.
Interim CA Olagor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can assure council that they will be aware of any applications that are received and either approved or denied under this program. We will keep you well informed. Thank you.
Okay. So it has been moved by Council Idris that bylaw number 26-009 be given 3 readings at this meeting, and it has to be carried unanimously.
We have to do the one before that.
Well, okay, do the one before that again. Okay. Moved by Councilor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-009 be read a second time.
As amended.
As amended. Yeah. All those in favor? Okay, now it's been moved by Councilor Idris that bylaw number 26-009 be given 3 readings at this meeting as amended. It has to be carried unanimously or defeated. All those in favor? Okay, it's been carried unanimously. Moved by Councilor Regner that bylaw number 26-009 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to authorize municipal tax reductions for eligible non-residential properties under the non-residential tax incentive program be read a 3rd time and adopted as amended. All those in favor? Carried. We'll move on to bylaw 26-014, and that will be the Business Improvement Tax Bylaw. Manager of Legislative Services, Mrs. Fontura.
Thank you. Through the chair to council. A bylaw must be adopted annually to collect business improvement area taxes. The bylaw for 2026 was attached for council. That shows the assessed value for the business revitalization zone or downtown Brooks, the approved budget by the board, and the mill rate that will be applied to ratepayers of the business improvement area. The bylaw is being presented just for first reading, and after first reading is approved, notices will be sent to ratepayers with a copy of the budget and the proposed bylaw. The ratepayers will be advised they can attend the April 13th council meeting to either support or express concerns related to the bylaw. So administration is recommending first reading and to set the public hearing for April 13th.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, no questions. So it's been moved by Councillor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-014 being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to set a rate for the business improvement area tax on business located in the Brooks Town Centre Revitalization Zone be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. It's been moved by Councillor Idris that a public hearing be held on April 13th, 2026 to gather public input regarding bylaw number 26-014 be adopted. Everybody in favor? Thank you. Move on to bylaw 26-016, 2026 property tax bylaw, and that will be financial planning supervisor, Mrs. Slaney.
Through the chair to council and mayor and council, section 353 of the Municipal Government Act requires council to annually pass a property tax bylaw. At the March 17th, 2026 council committee meeting, administration presented several taxation scenarios and examples for council to consider. The attached bylaw reflects the direction given by council. Specifically, the bylaw maintains a 0% change from 2025 to the residential municipal mill rate, while adjusting the municipal mill rates for non-residential by about 3% and vacant non-res properties by 5%, consistent with the budget, council direction, and within provincial limits. The 2026 education property taxes went up 14%, which will result in a noticeable increase on tax notices. This tax is established by the provincial government, and the municipality collects it on their behalf. Neither council nor administration has the authority to determine this amount. The proposed bylaw results in an increase in municipal tax revenue of $375,982. So administration is recommending that bylaw 06016 be given 3 readings and adopt it. Administration is also recommending that council approve a budget adjustment in the amount of $375,982 in additional tax revenue to be transferred to reserves.
Okay, thank you very much. So it has been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-016, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to set a rate for the levy on assessed value of property subject to taxation for the year 2026, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. It's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26-016 be read a second time. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Carried. It's been moved by Councillor Johnson that bylaw number 26-016 be given 3 readings at this meeting and must be carried unanimously. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-016, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, to set a rate for the levy on assessed value of property subject to taxation for the year 2026, be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. It has been moved by Councillor Regner that council approve a budget adjustment of $375,982 in additional tax revenue to be transferred to the operating contingency reserve. All those in favor? Carried. We'll move on to number E, bylaw 26-017, repaving tax bylaw. Financial planning supervisor, Ms. Slaney.
Through the chair to mayor and council, Section 382 of the Municipal Government Act authorizes council to pass a special tax bylaw on an annual basis. The proposed repaving tax bylaw continues the city's long-standing approach of pooling repaving tax revenue to help fund the paving of existing streets through the annual street improvement program. As the city's roadway network provides a community-wide benefit, the paving tax applies broadly to properties within the city, even those that are otherwise exempt from taxation. The capital annual street improvement funding and expenditures were approved during the 2026 budget process. As the budget did not change from 2025 for the program, administration is not proposing any changes to the 2026 repaving taxes. Administration is recommending that bylaw 26017 be given 3 readings and adopted.
Thank you, Ms. Slaney. So it's been moved by Councillor Johnson that bylaw number 26-017, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to impose a special tax for the repaving of streets and lanes, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? It has been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-017 be read a second time. Any questions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Through the chair to Ms. Slaney, I just want to confirm again that this is a tax. It's not a new tax. This is something that we've had for a long time and we're not changing anything.
Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, this program has been in place since 2003. The rates have changed over the years. The last change was in 2023, actually. They were increased by 25% when the budget changed for that program. But yeah, this is not a new tax. It's been in place since 2003.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councilor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-017 be read a second time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Been moved by Councilor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-017 be given 3 readings at this meeting, and it must be carried unanimously. All those in favor? Carried. It has been moved by Councilor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26-017, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to impose a special tax for the repaving of streets and lanes, be read a 3rd time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried.
Can I make a comment before we go further?
Should have done that earlier.
Later?
You want to raise a comment?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Through the chair to Ms. Slaney, I'd just like to say that you and your staff have, and our CAO have done a tremendous job working with us to try and keep this mill rate at the same as last year. And that, I think, is something that not a lot of communities can do that, and yet we're still in the position where we're trying to put more into our savings to ensure that future projects are going to do well and will carry on as a successful community. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to bylaw 26-019 and 26-020, short-term borrowing bylaw, and Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Leibel.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the mayor to council, we have our borrowing bylaws for the line of credit and the credit cards that the city uses. So this is primarily just to ensure that there aren't any service interruptions and that operations can continue efficiently with their current purchasing plan. So with that, I turn it back to council for any questions and recommendation.
Thank you very much, Director Leibel. So the moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 26-019, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to provide for short-term borrowing deemed necessary for the purpose of financing the operating expenditures of the municipality, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. It's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-019 be read a second time. Any questions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mr. Leibel, or Director Leibel, $2 million sounds like a lot, right, of money for a temporary borrowing. Is there any instance that you can think of or in recent memory where we've had to utilize this?
Thank you for the question. Through the chair to Councillor Johnson, I'm not aware of any instance where the City of Brooks has actually had to utilize it. It's a more or less an emergency. Emergency might be too strong a word. It's a financial tool. If the City of Brooks finds it an opportune time to perhaps delay financing on one of the other ventures coming for the capital budget, this would be an opportune time to make sure that there's a little bit of capacity to do that. If we can foresee that, say, the Bank of Canada is going to decrease interest rates, or if that's likely, then we might want to wait until we get a better interest rate and use this as bridge financing, for example, right? And of course, if there ever is any emergency, then it would be suitable for that purpose too. This amount is unchanged from the prior year as well at $2 million.
So just to clarify, sorry, Brian, you were so soft spoken, we can barely hear you. I just want to clarify. So even if we ask for the money, it doesn't mean that we spend the money, right?
Thank you for the question and clarification. Yes, that is correct. There is no intention at this time to utilize this line of credit, but of course, when it is authorized, it is available as a financial tool should the opportunity arise to maximize our financial opportunities.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Councillor Idris?
Why do we have it in the two institutions, like the 2 million and the 150 with the ATB?
Thank you for the question. Through the chair to Councillor Idris. So the changeover on the credit cards, I believe, happened just a short while ago. It was prior to my arrival here. And I believe part of the reasoning was that there was an advantageous cashback program for the credit cards. And so that's why they went with ATB. And with the Service Credit Union, that is our primary institution for our checking. And so it's a bit of convenience in terms of keeping that with Service Credit Union.
Does that promotion still exist with the ATB, or?
Yes, yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-019 be read a second time. All those in favor? Carried. It has been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw number 26-019 be given 3 readings at this meeting, and it has to be carried unanimously. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Moved by Councillor Johnson, the bylaw number 26-019, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to provide for short-term borrowing deemed necessary for the purposes of the financing and operating expenditures of the municipality be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-020, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to provide for short-term borrowing deemed necessary for the purpose of financing and operating expenditures of the municipality be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Regner that bylaw number 26-020 be read a second time. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Moved by Councillor Idris that bylaw number 26-020 be given 3 readings at this meeting, and it must be carried unanimously. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. And it's been moved by Councillor Phillipson that bylaw number 26-020, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, to provide for short-term borrowing deemed necessary for the purpose of financing the operating expenditures of the municipality be read a third time and adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 26-021, being a bylaw amendment to land use bylaw 1412. So bylaw 26-021, amendment to land use bylaw 1412. And I take it that's going to be Director Tiffin, seeing as Gavin is not here.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Through you to all of council. Bylaw 26-021 is attached for your review. This bylaw proposes to rezone a parcel of land located at Lot 2, Block K, Plan 251-1566, commonly known as 1028 Castles Road. This is a 1-acre parcel, and the adjoining parcels are all residential with duplexes adjacent directly to the north and a single-family home on a large lot directly to the east. The current zoning of this lot is residential single detached, and the application, which is attached for your review, is to rezone it to residential medium density. At this time, staff is recommending that council complete first reading of bylaw 26-021 and set April 13th, 2026 for the public hearing date.
Thank you very much, Director Tiffin. So it's been moved by Councillor Nesbitt that bylaw number 26-021, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta to amend bylaw number 1412, being the land use bylaw, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Johnson that a public hearing be held on April the 13th, 2026 to gather public input regarding bylaw number 26-021. All those in favor? Carried. Bylaw 26-022, amendment to land use bylaw 1412. And again, It'll be Director Tiffin.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the mayor to mayor and council, bylaw 26022 is attached for your review. This again proposes to redesignate a parcel of land. Although this parcel of land is located at the northwest corner of 11th Street and Castles Road West, the municipal address is actually 603 11th Street. It is a 1.86 acre parcel, which is currently zoned Future Urban Development, or FUD. The application, which is attached for your review, is to rezone the parcel to residential high density. With any rezoning request, a public hearing needs to be held and advertised as per the MGA and our public notification bylaw. So at this time, staff is recommending that council complete first reading of the bylaw and set April 13th, 2026 for the public hearing.
Thank you, Director Tiffin. So it's been moved by Councillor Falkenberg that bylaw 26-022, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, to amend bylaw number 14-12, being land use bylaw, be introduced and read a first time. All those in favor? Carried. It's been moved by Councillor Regner that a public hearing be held on April 13th, 2026 to gather public input regarding bylaw number 26-022. All those in favor? Carried. Now we'll motion to move into closed session. And it's been moved by Councillor Idris that council close the meeting to the public for agenda item 12A, advice from officials as per section 29-1 ATIA at 6:51. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.